We're going to add on the second arm to our arm swing cycle, the single arm swing that we did. We're going to put another arm on the opposite side, and we're going to have it swing identical to what the first one did, but as a mirror image. So there's a couple of things we need to sort of plan out in our brains to start off with, and that's the understanding of where exactly we are in relationship to this character, bodiless character with just the arms floating in space. So if, just draw this out on a sheet of paper just to help you understand it a little bit better. If we're looking at the character from directly above, and this is the clavicle.
It keeps blurring.
Oh, it'll focus once I draw something on it. If this is the central clavicle point, and these are the shoulders, so these are the clavicles going across here, and this is the shoulder point and the shoulder point here. When your character is just standing in a neutral position, what we have to understand is we're not looking at the character straight on front view or straight on side view. We're actually looking at the character in a slight 3/4 shot, which means that our camera is actually situated somewhere around over here. So that we're looking at the character from this point of view. So here's our field of vision here. This is our picture plane, a sheet of paper that we're drawing on. So that when we rotate and turn our character, in the instance of the single arm swing, we had our arm swinging forward. So we put the shoulder up forward here, and then we had the arm swinging back, so we put the shoulder back into this position here. So this is our path of action for shoulder, going back and forth. So when you're looking at it through the camera here, what you see from this point of view is here's the shoulder covering over the clavicle, and here's the clavicle going straight across. So in drawing number 1, this is the clavicle going straight across on the picture plane here. And in drawing number 9, this is the shoulder coming forward and covering over the clavicle center point. Okay? So does everybody understand that? All right, so what we want to do is we want to draw the opposite point of view on each of these arms. So if the forwardmost position is drawing number 9 and the backmost position is number 1, when we swing our arms back on the opposite side here, it's going to go back here, and when it comes forward on this side, it's going to come to this position here. So this will be our swinging back and forth. So this will be drawing number 9, and this is drawing number 1 over here. So when we see the clavicle on this one here going straight across this way, what we should see is the clavicle going straight across the forward position on drawing number 1. So on this one here, the clavicle is going to come straight across over here, and the shoulder is going to be somewhere around here. On this one, we're swinging the clavicle back, and so it's going to line up. In this instance here, it's just slightly in front of. So that means that the ball for the shoulder is going to be roughly about here, in that position. All right? So draw this on in drawing number 1, like this. And if you can draw it in a different color, it's usually better. That way you can differentiate between the two of them. This one here will be back in this position. We'll see just a little bit of the line of the clavicle overlapping onto that ball. Just to add a little bit of dimension. We can do it over here on this one too. Just have that line overlap a little bit like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to do our breakdowns, number 5 and 13. So number 5 is the halfway position. For number 1, shoulder is all the way back. It's moving forward into its forwardmost position. So therefore, the arm on the opposite side of the shoulder and the opposite side from number 1 is going to be moving backwards into its backmost position there. So we're going to use the same path of action, swinging down like this. You can see the path of action on this one is looping, so we're going to do the looping on this one as well. So the halfway position between these 2 points is going to be right about there. So we're just looking at the ball over here. So now we'll connect that up to the central clavicle point and overlap it just a little bit. And then we want to do number 13, which is basically the opposite is again, same idea with this one, is that the path of action is moving down. But notice on this one here, what happened on number 13? This position here, see how it comes forward into that position. So we changed somehow the in-between position on this one to match up to the forwardmost position going on 13. So we want to do the same thing on the opposite side, in which case, if we were to do the opposite, we really should adjust this one here. So we have to be aware of what it is that our drawings are doing in these instances. Oops, that's number 9. I wanted to keep my number 9, sorry. It was number 5, I have to adjust. Where did I put it? There's my number 5 there. Oh, sorry, I was in between the wrong one. Sorry. So I want to go 9 to 1 and 13. Sorry. Ignore what I just said there. So there's the proper action there of that swing. So here's where you have to sort of keep in mind where your drawings are going from and to make sure that you're not messing up. So we're going from this position here to this forward position here. Path of action is going down a little bit, a loop like this. So my halfway drawing is going to be right about there. Now, again, I mentioned this before, that this assignment is a brain teaser. You really have to keep your brain in gear as you're doing your drawings in order to keep track of what it is that you're doing, where the drawing is going from and to. It's very, very easy to get confused on this. So I'm going to go through it step by step the same way we did on the single arm swing. We're going to approach the exact same way. So essentially, here's our process. We're going to start with the shoulders. Okay? Shoulders come first, number 1. Number 2, we're going to then do the elbows. Number 3, the wrist. Number 4, the hand. Okay. So we're going to approach each of those in order, and that way we won't be overly confused about what's going on. So we've just finished off all our primary keys and our breakdown, so now we just go through and we start in betweening each of these. So we'll take from number 1 to number 5. My timing chart here for the shoulder says that 4 is the halfway position. So we pull out our drawing number 4. And again, all we're focusing on here is just the shoulder. Okay, getting the shoulder from this position to this position. Number 3, 4 to 1. It's number 3. And then 3 to 1 is number 2. Okay, so now we go number 5 to 9. Next in between now is 6. Pardon me? Yep. next in between is number 7, from 6 to 9. The final one on this side will be number 8. And then we repeat the process for the opposite side of the arm swinging forward now. So we're going from 9 to 13. And on our timing chart, 12 is the halfway. It's going to be hidden in behind the arm there. We're going to draw through. And this is a term that you're going to hear quite a bit as you go through your animation career. The idea of drawing through the character means that even though you're drawing something that you don't see, like an opposite shoulder, that could be hidden behind the body of the character, you still draw it in very, very lightly so that you understand where it is. So that helps you to understand where you're going to connect your arm. And in this case here, since the arm is going back, or coming forward actually, we need to know where that arm is going to be flowing through, so that we can get our proper anchor point there. Otherwise you get a lot of twitching and jittering in the action. This same thing is true for when you're doing character design. You always draw through the character so you can see the opposite side. Now our next in between is number 11. Again, it'll be slightly hidden in back there, so we're not going to see the clavicle. And then number 10. It's a good idea also when you're doing this to make sure that you stack your drawings properly so that they're always handy. You can always tell where they are. You're not having to sort of jumble through a huge pile to try and figure out where your drawings are. So always keep them in order. That's 9, 10, 11, 12 to 13. And now we'll do 13 back to 1. Next in between is 14, which is the halfway position. And this will complete the forward action in the shoulder here. In this case, the shoulder is going to be completely hidden by my hand here, because my halfway in between would sit right in there. So I'm still going to draw it in very, very lightly, just so I know where it is. I'm going to have to attach my arm to it later on. And then my final in between, number 16. Now in order to do this in between, see, I had to have drawn that shoulder in there so I know where I'm going from and to get to this next in between as soon as the hand moves away. Not quite right. Eraser. Okay, so that completes all my arm shoulder, or my shoulder movements. Let's take a look at these now flipped. this will just be the action of the clavicle and the shoulder. Okay. All right. So now my next stage is to find the mirror image between 1 and 9. I need my two drawings, number 1, number 9. And what would be helpful to do here would be to write this out. So everybody write these numbers down. 1, 2, and write them the way that I'm writing them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then go back up to the top. Beside number 1, you write 9. Then beside number 2, 10, 3, 11, 4, 12, 5, 13, 6, 14, 7, 15, and 8, 16. Right? This will just help you to keep in mind what the opposite numbers are. So your number 1 key is the opposite of number 9 key. Those are the two opposing key points. Our breakdowns are 5 and 13. Right? So if you keep that off to the side of your desk, it'll just give you a quick and easy reference to what drawings we're dealing with here. So drawing number 1 down here first, and then draw number 9 on it. So what we want to do is we want to draw arm number 1 in its mirror position. So this arm is the left arm. We need to draw the left arm on this one here in this position here. So we know where the shoulder is. It's in the backmost position. Now we need to figure out where our elbow is going to go. So here's what we're going to do. Back when we drew this, okay, I explained to the idea that we are standing right here. This is us as the camera. Here's our character here. Straight across here on our picture plane, there's our picture plane right here, or your sheet of paper. Right across over here, this is where your vanishing point is going to be. All right? So we're going to pick a point roughly about here, about an inch roughly at the edge of the paper, at the character's shoulder level. We're just going to put a little X right here, a little plus sign. That's going to represent our vanishing point that we're going to use. And that's going to help us add dimension to the character. The basic rule behind perspective is the closer something is to you, the bigger it appears. The further away it is, the smaller it appears.